It's a beautiful, cold 26 degrees now here in Kentucky, and I figured that I would go ahead and do a quick video, show you what I do for my chickens, and with it being winter time and being cold. So we're going to flip the video around so you can kind of see what their makeup is. They're already in there eating for the morning, and we've already gotten an egg so far this morning and everything. So let's flip around. Well, we will flip around. Okay, as you can see, this is their get up here. For right now, this is their actual enclosed run area, and their house is back off over there, up under the tarp as well. So this is what we've been doing in order to like keep them definitely warm. We do not do artificial lighting or anything for them. That is our bucket that we go in and we clean out their coop as well as the run every morning to make sure that it does stay good and clean for them, so we're not set up any diseases. We run 2 feeding bowls, which I don't know, you might be able to hear them, is that they're in there eating now. So they have their little bowls and they're eating. And as you can see, there is a draft there. And if we actually go on the back of it, it does have another opener too, so the way they can still get air in there, because you don't want to just lock them off completely from the cold, because they still need to be able to circulate. As you can see, there is our solar power fence part. But yeah, let's go here and talk about what are some of the things that I do feed them, which is helping with them to stay with their land. We're going to do it inside the shed, so I don't necessarily have to be completely out here in the cold, but trust you me, it is even cold in here since it's a non-heated shed. Oh, I see y'all eating too. Okay. I give the little wildlife birds a little bit. And I'm going to tell you now, please forgive the way my shed looks. So in here is where we actually keep their main food and everything. We keep it in, of course, this big garbage can, which is getting close to me to have to actually restock their food in here. But as you can see, that is this is some of their cracked corn I actually was able to pick up from the Rural King. And I'm gonna tell you right now, whatever you see, this is an unsponsored video. Like, I have no partnerships or nothing. I'm just literally sharing with you the things that I do to keep my hens and my flock and my rooster, you know, healthy. And it seems to be also keeping them laying throughout this coldness. So, and you see, this is the compact food feed, and so we just keep it locked in a metal can, so that way nothing can get in here to their food. And we keep a smaller one. I think you saw it on one of my shorts that I told you about their other metal can. And this is their other little small metal can that when we know we're going to have extremely bad weather, we will go ahead and fix up that can with their food in it and sit it inside their run, so that we can just come straight out, do what we need to do. And usually, this is the lid to one of the water buckets. But we also, like in one of these type of containers, which you can get them from any big box store, like, you know, Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, Harbor Freight, Rural King, any of them. They carry these 5-gallon buckets. I like these just because these are also food grade safety. And what we tend to do with those is that they have a block from Combat Feeds, that little block that they can like eat on and peck on and keep them entertained. Like in the wintertime, we keep it in there, but we keep it in there actually not just in the winter, even throughout the summer, because you don't want rodents or anything coming in trying to get it. And usually we'll bring it inside of the shed at night, except for when it's really, really cold and we have like the snow and the ice. Then we will leave it in the run, but we always put it in one of these type of buckets with a lid on it. So some of the things that I do in order to try to keep them warm, because I said we don't use artificial lighting in there to keep them laying or anything. But the one thing is, I love this, my favorite chicken hemp bedding. And this is the one that's got the, and I'm going to mess this up, the Dakashai and deodorizer in it. And the one good thing about it is that it does compost down and break down to where if you want to do the deep litter method, it's really good, because it's hemp. It's sourced here, I do believe, in the United States. and no further than Canada. I think it's one time that I read. And so they love it. We use it throughout the summer. And the one good thing about it is because hemp is very absorbent, so it doesn't leave the moisture in there for the buildup. And I even have the hemp pads in their hatching box, but I actually got my hemp pads for the hatching box from Grubbly Farms, which, speaking of Grubbly Farms, my chickens love their hometown harvest grubbies. Like, when they see this bag come out, they just lose their minds. Like, you cannot tell them that Christmas, Halloween, Valentine's Day, I mean, they are out there like with their little feet just high-fiving everybody when they see that green bag. And even when they see the other one, because I do both from Grubbly's, which is also their Omega Mix. And what I like to do with this, which I got this idea off of Dahlia from Chickenlandia, is that she takes and mixes this in a lot with her food in their main container. And I put some of that in their main container, but I also found that my chickens love to also eat it as a little bit of a treat and snack. So I will take and sometimes just mix it in with their food bowl, take like a handful and just throw it into their food bowl and everything with them. And right now what I've been doing, since it is cold, I've definitely been mixing like a handful extra into their food bowls, because this is another source of protein. Now in the summertime, I would definitely say you might want to cut back. It's got calcium too because of the mealworms, but I go ahead and throw a little bit of this in with their food mix as well, since it's so cold. And as I said, mines are kind of going through a little bit of a malting for the winter. Another thing that I've also been mixing in with their food from Comback is this all-natural 20% flop maker. Now, grant you normally would want to just use this before like your, I think Hennies and Gents get, what is it, more than, up until they're like 16 weeks old, or is it 20 weeks? I have to, well, it says from 6 weeks of age until laying age or market weight. So, but what I've been doing, since this has a 20% protein in it, and as I said, my girls and my guy is trying to go through a winter molt, I've been adding just a little bit of that to their food bowls too. About, let's say, about once, twice a week, I add that in. Oh, and if you want to see, I'm glad this box kind of popped open, so we can go back to bedding real quick so that you can see it. This hemp bedding is wonderful, which I get it shipped in from Chewy's, because here in Kentucky, I have not found anybody who sells hemp bedding, and that's fine. So I just get it shipped in from Chewy's every month. But as you can see, this is like some real good fine grade material. And so they love it. It smells wonderful because it does have different like little herbs down in there. And so my hens and stuff love it. I love too that it's not dusty. So it cuts down on the fact that there being dust and irritation in their lungs. But yet it keeps them nice and healthy and warm in their bedding, in their little house. Now, another thing that we do inside of their enclosed run is that instead of using the hemp, we use this here, which is called Easy Straw. And we just throw this down all inside their enclosed run, and which just keeps them just happy and pecking through things and scratching through everything. Another thing that we also use inside of their coop from Grubbly Farms is their coop conditioner. And I just kind of take and throw a little handful inside their coop. It keeps it nice and fragrant as well. But I also like to use it inside of their run and just throw it around because I like the mint smell of it. Now let's talk about their food. real quick, which I'm living, swearing, and dying right now by this, which is the Hen House Reserves from Comback. And I'm gonna have to say that 9 times out of 10, this is probably the real reason, besides the fact of, just making sure that they stay healthy on an average and get enough sunlight here and there when they can come out for sun, is the fact that this here is what I've been feeding my girls and my guy definitely ever since they was at this point. But actually, if I'm truthful about it, I started off Comback. Let's just bring this bag back out real quick. They have what's called a chick house reserve. So I actually started, as you can see, I had the flop maker. I sold them out on their chick house reserve. And then when they got old enough to about, what was it, I think 16 weeks or 20 weeks, I started switching them over to their hen house reserve. And I can tell you, I have pretty healthy chickens and stuff. And I said, mines are still laying. And I did my research when I was getting chickens to say, okay, which feed I want to use. And I'm telling you guys, I'm going to say that is definitely one of the main reasons why they are still laying, even when it's 7 degrees outside, is because of this food here. Because like I have several friends in the farming community that their chickens are not laying, and they have like 20 or more chickens. I only have 5, and my 5th one literally just started laying less than a month ago. And they have not stopped laying. They are doing it. And with one lady, her chickens and my chickens are the exact same age. In fact, I got my chickens technically from her. They were hatched at the exact same time, exact same day. So, and even hers have stopped, for the most part, laying. She still has some that are laying, but not as frequently. But she does buy her feed from the big box store. And I understand you have to buy what is in your budget and what works for you. And I will say though, but her chickens do get the free range more than mine, whereas mine's only get to free range about maybe 6 to 8 hours on a good day. And if it's cold out here today, they may only get about 4 hours, because we definitely sit outside with ours to make sure the hawks and the vultures and everybody do not come after them to try to get them. And when it's cold out here, they become even more susceptible to predator attacks because food is scarce. And in her case, she's on like a 4.2 acre farm, and so her chickens free range and eat a little bit more that way, whereas mine, they get the free range in their 100-foot enclosure here, which is more than enough room for them. And then too, mines are a little bougie, I will say. They don't eat worms. They just look at the worms, kick the worms back. Yeah, they're a little different. Whereas everybody else's chickens will eat the worms, not mine. But it is what it is. But here's another thing too, is that I was talking with her the other day, and I was talking with a couple of other farmers who have chickens, more say, and theirs are not laying. And in fact, theirs stopped laying. I think one of the farmers, she was telling me that her chickens stopped laying, what was it, like October-ish? Maybe November. No, it was October. And then another farmer I talked to, he was like his hens had stopped laying too around October. So I don't know if it's because maybe they was going through a molt, but when I just checked back with one of the farmers, what was it, last week? No, week before last, he was like, his were still not laying and they had completed their molt. So the other farmer, real quick, just keep up with my story. The other farmer that I had talked to, the one who has the hens that are like the same age as mine, she was like, hers had kind of slowed down. They were still giving her maybe like 1 or 2 eggs, a day. But I would think that since she has about 15 of them, that she would be getting more than 1 or 2 eggs. But she did tell me herself that since her and these other ones that I'm talking about, they all get their feed from like the big box store. That's a real famous place. That's probably part of their issue. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to stand 10 toes down. I may pay a little bit more for Callenbach fees, food, but hey, it's got my chickens good and healthy. They're laying. I'm getting anywhere from 3 to 5 eggs a day now. At first, I was only getting 3 to 4 eggs until my fifth one started laying, and now I'm at least getting 3 to 5 eggs. So a lot does depend on the breed of your chickens to whether or not they will still lay. So you have some that will only lay, even when it's summertime, no more than maybe 4 eggs a week. And that's usually like my little bit of my black copper Moran. She is not one that's going to lay an egg just every single day anyway. So, if she's only now giving me about, 3 eggs or so, 3 to 4 eggs a week, that's still about on average of what she was doing in the summer. So I'm not going to complain. And then back to the feed real quick. The Hen House Reserve. So now they have released this one called Love Bug. It's now been out for about a month, maybe 2 months. And my hens are just loving that too. So what I do is I do mix both of these together inside of their food along with the other things. But I said, I'm going to stand 10 toes down and say that this is part of the reason of why my hens are still laying. But another thing that I do real quick too is from Grubbly Farms, and I don't have the little containers out here, so I'll just put Grubbly Farms back up here so you just know who I'm talking about. Grubbly Farms, I went ahead like earlier this year, especially for summer, and I went ahead and purchased it's electrolytes and vitamins combined together, and then they have like a probiotics. And I went ahead and got both of those. And so like today in their water, because it is so cold, and we went from, last Wednesday, no, let's just back up a whole week. Last Sunday, we had snow on the ground, okay, guys? And I'm talking about just about maybe 4 inches or more snow. Then by Wednesday, we was like almost 60 degrees. On Thursday, it was raining. And now here we are going into the week of Christmas. And I'm back at right now only having 26 degrees. Okay. And then by Christmas, we're supposed to be basically 70 degrees. So one thing that we did do is that I do put in my chickens' waters and stuff, the vitamins and electrolytes. And then like today, they got probiotics in their water. And for the summer, I definitely use electrolytes. And now you don't use it every day because you don't want to mess with their system. But on the days like when we was here in Kentucky and it was basically, let's say 98 degrees, but yet with the humidity, it was feeling like 110. I made sure that we put some electrolytes along in their water. And we've been even doing it as this weather flips back and forth in order to keep their immune systems good and healthy as well. Another thing that I also add into their food, which I will tell you this, with Hen House Reserves and with Combat, they go ahead and they do put oregano oils and stuff in their feed. But what I also like to do as well is I like to add in just a little extra, and I say, overlook my wonderful messy shed. It'll get cleaned here in the spring. But I'll do add like a little red pepper flakes. I will add wonderful like oregano leaves. I only use a hint of this about once a week, especially right now. They did not have garlic in their food in the summer at all. But right now, with the way the weather keeps flipping and flopping, garlic is a good thing for the immune system, but you cannot like overuse it in chickens. We add a little basil leaves, and I add thyme to their feed as well. And then this is just some cayenne, but we don't use both the cayenne and the red pepper flakes. It's either one or the other. And then I also, from time to time, will add like a little cinnamon into their daily feed. So yeah, that is basically what we're doing in order to keep them happy and healthy throughout this wonderful cold, hot, warm, cold, hot winter land thing. And I also use food grade dimetations are, this is too, just to kind of help cut down on the bugs and anything that might try to get with them through all of this. And we usually just put this in their enclosed run, and we also put it so a little bit inside of their coop. But that is basically what we use to keep them good and healthy. And of course, make sure that you have some grit, because you know they got to be able to digest their food. And we use some calcium too from Grubbly Farms. But as I said, those are just some of the companies and different things that I use in order to keep my Hennies and my Gent together. This crazy weather that we are experiencing, and grant you, now we are now at like summer solstice. So y'all see, this is what happens. I will tell you this, and just know that sometimes I do squirrel off, but this is what happens when you going through like perimenopause and menopause. When you're over 50, yeah, some things don't always get with you the right way. But winter solstice, so you know that was just yesterday, which means when you go through winter solstice is that now you're going into you're going to hit the longer days with a little bit of the shorter nights, because that just means that now we're getting ahead towards summer, even though it is literally winter. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, those are just some of the things that I like to do for my Hennies and my Gents, and it seems to be proven very well. Yeah, they stay good and they stay healthy so far that way, and they are loving it. Now, like today, the sun will be out, and it is supposed to get warmer. I think the whole warmer is like 45 degrees, but no matter what, we will be out to let them enjoy the sun, which of course, you know, that helps with egg production too. So between the food and I think us constantly making sure that we are trying to do everything to keep them wonderful and healthy, between making sure that they're getting, you know, maybe a little extra vitamins in their water, a little electrolytes in their water, especially when the weather changing. And which when we do that, we don't do that every day. It's not even recommended that you do it every day. But like how we went from, I said, this weekend not being overly cold, and then you're waking up this morning to 21 degrees. Yeah, we did give them a little probiotic boost this morning so that their immune systems can keep bouncing back and forth like that. Because say here in Kentucky, our weather does change on a constant, especially during this time of the year. As I said, by Christmas, we're looking at it being almost 70 degrees. So, but then we'll look up, and I think I've already did a 10-day lookout, and it's supposed to then drop back down to like the 30s or so. So I would just say you do what's best for you and your flock, and you do what is affordable for you and your flock. But this is just something that I thought I would share, like what we're doing. So we don't do artificial lighting in their coop, because I do believe that they do need to how the good Lord intended for them to do, is take a rest. So, you know, if we're getting eggs, we're getting eggs. If we're not getting eggs, we're not getting eggs. But as I said, my hens and my Gent, they're not necessarily bred for them to be like meat. They are my pets, which is why they also have their names, and they have their little personalities. So whether they're laying eggs or not, they're still going to be around. And my goal is for them to be around until the good Lord calls them home, the chicken home, or in everything. So I'm not worried about them, you know, as I say, laying eggs, because I'm not there to sell my eggs. As well as I actually also have them for their manure to help with my farm and with my gardening. So yeah, they are my pets. But in turn, if they bless us with eggs, we're very thankful for the eggs, because the eggs are very yummy. And if, you know, as long as I'm getting manured in order to grow the food that we need to grow, then yeah. And you probably say, well, okay, in that case, then why did you choose the food that you chose? I chose it because my thing is, if I'm going to eat those eggs, I want to know that I'm eating as healthy as possible too. So I'm not just going to feed my hens and my gent just anything. The same way I don't feed my dogs just anything, it's the same way that I approach my chickens and stuff. You know, if you're going to eat it, you might as well feed them the best that you can afford. But I said, if you cannot afford it, that's understandable. Then you feed according to what is in your pocket. If you cannot afford him bedding, then you get them the bedding that you can afford. At the end of the day, whatever you're doing for your chickens, as Dahlia would say, then it is still the best that you are doing. And it's still better than them being just trapped up anywhere. Because I don't know if you all have ever seen like how these chicken houses are ran. You know, if they're with you, they're still in a better situation. If you haven't seen how chicken houses are ran, I will tell you to definitely look on YouTube and just look at the chicken farms and different things and see how some of these chickens are raised in, you know, these confinements where it's like maybe 5,000 birds in, like, let's just say a big shed. And yeah, they might not be chained, but they are definitely not free ranging. They're not living the life that you're basically giving them. And which is that I do appreciate Dahlia for Chickenlandia pointing that out. And I did do some extra research, and yeah, so you know, this is what I do for my flock. Now if I maybe had 20, 30 birds, it might be a little different, but I just do believe that if I'm going to eat it, then I'm going to want what's best as well for them. So yeah, until the next video, and I hope that you enjoyed this one. You know, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to you on the next long form video. And be sure to check out the shorts. All right, God bless and have a Merry Christmas. Bye.